Hey, so welcome to the VET S.O.S. Entrepreneur Spotlight. Hey, so remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the SOS Lifeline. Hey, we here at the VET Entrepreneur Spotlight. It's proud to be affiliated with the Neil Haley Show, and we're sponsored by Spirit Point Solution. So a Spirit Point Solution is a one-stop shop for leading-edge products, services, and training from multiple vendors. So that's from your AI training, corporate gifts, and many, many more things they offer. So they offer everything to help your organization grow and thrive in the modern economy. So check out all the valuable offerings at spearpointonline.com. And remember to use our code VET S.O.S on anything that you purchase there that will help us continue our mission of improving the lives of those who have served. Hey, so on today's show, we have a special guest today. We have Mr. Miguel Echols. He is a leadership consultant, corporate trainer, and United States Marine Corps veteran who helps organizations build high-performing leaders, KPI-driven teams, and resilient workplace cultures. He's been featured in Forbes. Man, this guy's balling. Business Insider, and he brings a proven experience as speaker, consultant, certified coach through the International Coaching Federation. Miguel has earned his Presidential Volunteer Service Award and has consulted for Starbucks, Chambers of Commerce, high schools, sports teams, and nonprofits. As a digital nomad, he travels the world sharing leadership strategies and cultural insights with the organizations and committee he serves. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Hey, so let's hop right into this interview. So, Marine Corps veteran, you get ready to transition out to what we call civilian life. Kind of walk us through that, like what the biggest lessons you learned when you transitioned from a super military structure in the Marine Corps to where you're in civilian life now. How did that go? Talk to us about that.
So the overall experience, I can't do nothing but thank God, the universe, or, whatever people may believe in, was that there was people that was kind of put in my path. I didn't see it at the time, but they was put in my path at that particular time to be able to help me, get through certain things. And the overall experience, you have to adapt. You have to adapt. I think the military, we always going to nitpick at things, but I think they have the transition service where they try their best. It could be better, but they try their best to help us transition. But it's just totally different when you're on the outside and you're a civilian 100%. It is an adaptive process because it's certain things that you did in the military that you can't necessarily do on the outside when it comes to the relationship side. Now, when it comes to working, there are certain principles that you can take far as honesty, trustworthy, showing up 15 minutes prior, those things I think you could bring from that and take it over. But like I said, the relationship side is certain things from there you can't bring.
Got you. So how do those lessons you learn from your transition out, having so many people being put in front of you, how has that shaped you today?
One thing it has taught me to be patient,
Okay.
put the work in, but be patient. And when you in that process, I know it's very cliche, but literally when you put the work in, you have your mind made up and you focus on something. Life
Yeah.
has a way of putting those, pieces to the puzzle together to assist you. That's one of the biggest life lessons it taught me, was to be patient, because in the beginning, I wasn't as patient. I had that fear of, or they say, losing out, or fear, it was kind of a fear in the sense of, because, they, you hear the noise, the outside noise, and this was during the pandemic time. You hear the noise of, there is this much job opportunity, or, veterans homeless crisis and things like that. So it kind of put you in the, panic mode where it's like, I need to do this, need to do this, need to have this in place. And, it does put you in a panic mode, and you do lose patience. And one of the things that taught me was, have patience, have a goal, work it, put the things that, in place, but life will assist you at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think that's definitely very important, especially coming from an organization where it's a high tempo, Marine Corps, Navy, Army, Air Force. It's a lot going on. And so to come into a space where you have to have a little patience and you don't get those immediate results is truly key. So let me ask this then. So um take me back to that moment as you're thinking about being an entrepreneur and what sparked that thought to be an entrepreneur. And I mean, what was possibly going on in your life at the time that made you decide to build your own thing as an entrepreneur instead of
So
just
I
going
remember,
the safe route?
okay. So I remember, I guess my coming to the entrepreneur awakening moment, right, was when I was
Yeah,
in the service. I was in the service and I never, we can say names on here, right?
sure.
Okay. Now, I remember a guy, his name was VET S.O.S, and he was an entrepreneur. And that's the first guy who introduced me to that. It really took me under his wing and, gave me the ropes.
Mm,
And I was at a crossroads because how certain
yeah,
things he did, how he operated, went against what I did. For example,
got you. Hmm.
because he, like I say, he's a businessman. And one of the things he does is he invites the people over his house. And I looked at him like, why you inviting us over your house? Like that wasn't
Yeah,
how I raised. I was like, you don't let everybody over your house. But he stopped in the
yeah.
middle of the hallway and said, if I don't trust you, I wouldn't do business with you.
Mm,
And
yeah,
he was like, if I can't trust you as a person, I can't trust to make money with you. Because if you make money, you give me more room to do what you have to, what you want to do, right? And really behind that, it was a mindset shift, right? So at that time,
okay.
I knew I wanted more or wanted something different out of life than just solely just being a Marine. Nothing wrong with being a Marine, right? But it was a little bit
Yeah.
more that I wanted to have out of life, a little bit more resources as well. And during that time, it put me at
Hmm.
a crossroads as far as mindset shift because I saw them talking about manifesting and, you know, not living, paycheck to paycheck and going against the
Yes,
grain, which in the military, it's kind of, you're taught more so to cooperate as a team. Entrepreneurship,
yes.
you are taught about a team, but at the same time, you're taught about going
Hmm.
against the grain as far as fighting through the nose or, becoming that 1%, right? It was a different type of 1%. And that's how it
Yeah,
was at that time. It was a mindset shift, a big one.
got you. Now, you were able to be taken under your wing by the gentleman. Let's ask this question. How would you have been or what would you have done? I mean, not that. Here's the question. What would it look like if you had not been taken on the wing by him and you were just out on your own? Because a lot of times, a lot of entrepreneurs don't get that mentorship immediately. They have to grind first and then they'll come into those folks. But you came into it from the beginning. What would it have looked like for you if you didn't have that in the beginning and you had to eventually find him later on down the road?
Right. It would have, I always say, that's a great question you asked. I always say it just would have took me a little bit longer. It would have.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in that situation, I met Shaw, and there was a couple other entrepreneurs I met. Was it Reggie, the Sauce Live, Al Schiff, and Marcus Banks. He was a Wing Chun instructor, and they all had their own
Mm-hmm.
business. A lot of these guys I either met through me going, I was looking in a sense. Shaw met him
Yeah.
through a mutual friend because people knew that I kind of had that spirit in me. The other guy, Wing Chun, I met out researching on Facebook. The restaurants, I met them because I was looking them up. I was kind of, looking in that sense. Now,
Yeah.
all this would probably took me a lot longer. Still would have happened because of my mindset was still focused on looking And what happens is when you look, if your mindset is focused on looking, you are not necessarily vulnerable, but you do open yourself up to that exposure. So
Yeah.
things are just coming that way. Now it's counterproductive.
Hmm.
I want to tell the audience that because sometimes you could be looking for certain things, you open yourself up to the good and bad that come with that. You gotta learn how to, navigate through that. But it just would have took me a little
Yes.
longer.
Got you. Got you. Now, here's another follow-on question now. And I mean, like you just mentioned, mentors, your tribe, the folks you're around helps you get there faster. And I think a lot of people don't understand that that's the secret sauce of being a great entrepreneur. If you have, what's the saying? The five people that's around you are, if they're duds, you're pretty much gonna be a dud yourself. You're gonna be the sixth dud. So if you're putting
Right.
yourself in situations where you're around some great people, great entrepreneurs, that's your fast track to get to where you need to go faster than if you did it on your own. So it's really, really powerful what you said right there. Now, we all know being an entrepreneur, you don't get a check every 2 weeks like a normal job. And so but now that you're in the thick of it though, what's been the most rewarding part of being an entrepreneur, and what's that spark that lights you up every day?
Me having dreams, 'cause
Mm,
people want to say the freedom and things like that. I can't say that, right? Well, one of the biggest things why I got into it was I always wanted to do cool projects. And
mm,
anytime for me that I have a vision in my mind and I bring it into the world and I'm like, wow, I really put that together and to accomplish it, that's what really lights a fire under me is to bring things to life.
mm. Got you. Got you. Really seeing that project come to fruition, and it's like, I did that.
Yes. Yes. Having that
Yeah.
freedom does help.
Hmm.
Uh, because the military, you have to work within their schedule. So having that freedom does help.
Yeah.
But again, I I couldn't do this without the military. So I gotta always salute the military because that gave me that leg up in life as well.
Yeah. Got you. So now we know being an entrepreneur ain't always fun. It ain't always um, that glamorous as people make it seem. So what's been the most frustrating part about your journey, and how did you deal with it?
The most frustrating part about the journey, there's two things,
Hmm.
myself and the people I deal with. So I start with
Okay, tell us
myself.
about that.
So I always been, down I'm from the South, so we use this term a hustler, right? Or, or
Yeah.
go getter. I always had that mentality
Hmm.
since before the military. Now, at a certain point, it worked. It got me to a certain level. But it, like I say, it can be counterproductive because you can be hustling too much and not really focus on anything. You're focusing, but you're not really focused. There's a difference
Yeah.
because you try to do all these different
Uh-huh.
things. Busy work, but busy work isn't productive. So I had to
Yeah.
learn that in order to be productive, you got to, hone in on a single thing, whatever it is, and then just, get your reps in as much as possible and be cool with, taking the losses or whatever the case may be, or the lessons learned in the beginning and keep it rolling. Then on the second hand,
Gotcha.
when it comes to
Hmm.
people is the relationships that you have or that you started out with, how they don't believe in themselves. That was the most frustrating part. You trying to take them under your wing and try to bring them up with you and how they don't want to go.
Yeah. Got you. So let me ask this now, for our audience. Can you kind of give us a description of what busy work looks like, and then what actual productivity looks like? Because that's a misconception on that, of what people think the two things are. Because I mean, someone can be busy but not productive, and vice versa. So now, kind of Give us an example of what that looks like for you so they can kind of understand a little bit better.
So in the entrepreneurship world, and I give various different examples because whether you're athlete, military, entrepreneur, or work, I give different examples. That's all entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. Let's say you have a gift. You good at podcasting. Says you're a podcaster
Mm-hmm.
yourself. You're good at podcasting. Now, what happens is you have some people who are multi-talented or whatever the case may be. So it's a little tricky. Like, you're good at podcasts, but you'll get caught up hustling. You'll be trying to sell potato chips. Then you'll be trying to cut hair. Then you'll try to write a book. Then you'll try to, go mow the lawn and things like that. And you think all this stuff is going to get you, somewhere where really it isn't. Like, you really probably need like they say, one avenue. And sometimes you may
Yep.
have to bootstrap. You may have to, unfortunately, a lot of us don't come from no, generational wealth, so we have to bootstrap. So we have to find the vehicle where it's going to pay us the money to fuel that one thing we want to focus on.
Mm.
And when you find that thing you focus on for as an entrepreneur, you still could get a little bit distracted because though it be certain things and tasks throughout the day where you could get lost in the sauce and you're not really focusing on podcasts. Like podcasts, for example, or any industry, your main job is to, find the people or something like that. Let's say we'll
Yeah.
stick with podcasts. You're supposed to find the people to come on the podcast. But instead, you're probably let's say you're going to a networking event, but you're going to a networking event, you say, hey, I volunteer to pick up the trash and clean up at networking event. But you ain't really did enough far as to help contribute to the podcast, if that makes sense. So you
Yeah,
have
that makes
that
perfect sense.
the entrepreneurship. Then let's say the military side, right?
Uh-huh.
So military side, you try to get a promotion. So and the military is a tricky thing because in the military, it breeds this multi-juggling, multitasking, and it in
Mm-hmm.
a lot of cases is appropriate in that area, not so much entrepreneurship, right?
Yep.
And you see the requirements for the promotion, but again, you're caught doing all these other things instead of just focusing in
Yeah.
on the requirement. Same thing with the
Yep.
job, military, job, and athlete. And I can put them in the same box. If you're an athlete and you play sports, your main focus is to do your job, get the reps in, practice, and do your
Yep.
job. But when you start going outside that box, you want to go take pictures, you want to go, do community service, or, you do all these other things, and you think that it could contribute to, where you're going. In a sense, some things can, but it's really not. It's going to you think you're focusing, but you're not focused.
Got you. Yeah, man. I think that's definitely a powerful statement because, I mean, a lot of people get distracted by the shiny objects, the other things that are not productive, and they go down this rabbit hole of going to something else that doesn't create them any productivity. So I really think you spot on with that one, man. I love that. Hey, so what as far as plugging it into a type of community programs, I know you said you had a mentor, but did you specifically do anything with the veteran organization or anything you did to help launch a business from a veteran standpoint?
Honestly, no. I started I
Gotcha.
started all my stuff without veteran resources. Even the
Mm-hmm.
people that have helped me, they were still active duty. Or not active duty, excuse me, government contracts. So they were still kind of into that, that government space working. That was, like I say, they was the intro. So I haven't had veteran support when it comes to that.
Gotcha. All right. So now let's get into your business really fast. Hey, so tell us about your business, what exactly you do, who do you serve, and what makes your company so different?
So as he mentioned earlier, I'm a speaker, consultant, more so on leadership, a little bit of personal
Mm-hmm.
development. So what sets me apart is really my approach to it and how I teach people. I have, types of curriculums catered towards whoever books me for their service. So I have to hear them out. And I do have a foundational curriculum, but then
Uh-huh.
it's a little catered. But again, it's my approach and the why behind what I do. And why is, I want to be able to solve that problem of eliminating the coulda, woulda, shoulda in life. Because a lot of us say, hey,
Gotcha.
if I go back in the time machine and do it over again, I would have done something different. So that's basically how I kind of catered my speeches and, my curriculums. So I'm basically that time machine that's coming back to remind you or to prevent you from going through something.
Got you. Got you. So just so our audience understands, you carry your business. I mean, your model is for small businesses, big, massive businesses. Like what are your organization are you looking for to serve?
So initially, I started out working with the small business. Now, it doesn't mean that I
Hmm.
don't want to work with them, but I pivoted toward working with, again, schools and corporations and government agencies.
Got you. Okay. All right. And so, hey, before we hop out of here, how can people get connected to you? What should they go to connect with you and find out all the other things to find out?
So it's a couple of avenues. For right now, you can find me on LinkedIn. My name Miguel Echols, or you can stay tuned on Business Insider because I'm consistently working with them, dropping articles monthly, and you can hear more about my story and their perspectives on life. And those are the main avenues for now.
Got you. So we can connect with you on LinkedIn, Miguel Echols, and what's the other one you said, what's the business?
Business Insider, it's a media publication company.
Business.
You can just type my
Okay.
name in on Google, and you'll just have to stand by because the articles come out when they release them. But you can find some good information about me.
Okay, perfect. Hey, so connect with Miguel Echols, leadership consultant, some great opportunities. Hey, man, thank you for joining us on the VET S.O.S. today's podcast. On behalf of all of us here at the VET S.O.S. family, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us as well. You can find VET S.O.S. podcast on all your favorite platforms, YouTube, and all social media platforms. And definitely make sure that you subscribe to the VET S.O.S. so you don't miss anything like this amazing interview we just did today. And remember, don't drown in seal transition. Grab the VET S.O.S. Lifeline.
And I want to say